There are a lot of different situations where you might have a large set of data and you want to find one number that best represents this entire set of data. And we call these measures of center. And it turns out there's quite a number of different measures of center. In this video, we're going to look at one in particular called the mean. So here's what it looks like. Let's say you have just a lot of different data points. Let's say these are maybe test grades from the last test that we took in our algebra class, and these are all the different students' grades. Well, when you look at all these different numbers, this is just a big mess of numbers. But if I wanted to find one number that represented how the class did as a whole, this is finding a measure of center for the class. So here's how we're going to find the mean, and we'll study a few other measures of center in the next videos, but in this video we're going to focus on one called the mean. So here's what we do. We take all of our values and we add up all of the test grades in this example. We're going to add up all the values, and then you divide by the number of values that you have. Now here I've put them in order. This was not necessary for the mean. That's one of the benefits of the mean, is they don't have to be listed in any particular order because you're just adding them all together anyways. To save us a little bit of time, I've already done a little bit of the legwork for us. If you count these values, there's a total of 16 test grades. So there's 16 students in our class. And if you took the time on a calculator to either hand type these in or add them up by hand, the total, if you added up all these, would give a total of 1,268. Okay, so now how are we going to get the mean though? We're going to take this total, this 1,268, and we're going to divide it by the 16 test grades. And this is going to give us a result of 79.25. So now what is this number? What does this mean represent? This is one number that best represents the entire set of data, the entire set of test grades. And so this gives you a good feel of how the class did as a whole. If this number was closer to 100, the class did great. If this number was much lower, then the class didn't do so well. Now, one of the downsides to the mean is that the mean is affected by what are called outliers. An outlier appears to be substantially different than all the other values. Here's an example for our scenario here. Let's say maybe a couple of these students, maybe this student and maybe this student here, maybe they were absent on the day of the test. So maybe they didn't score a 71 and a 95. Maybe they both got zeros, and maybe they never came back to make up those test grades. So that's what went in for their grade. Well, now if you took the mean now as to the scores of all the students, those two zeros are going to be substantially lower than all the other test grades, and it's going to drastically pull down the mean. So I haven't crunched the numbers on taking the mean now. There's still 16 test grades, but now we have zeros in here. But if you work the math out, I bet it would be substantially lower than 79.25. So then if somebody comes and says, well, the measure of center for this class's test grades is somewhere in the 60s or in the 50s, you can see how that may not be totally fair, because most of the students did not score in the 60s and the 50s. Many scored in the 70s, 80s, and even 90s. And so you can see how the mean is affected by outliers. Now, some of our other measures of center are not affected by outliers, and we'll look at those in some of the upcoming videos.